Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, everyone. I request all the participants to kindly keep their microphone in the mute mode. I also request everyone to kindly restrain from presenting as it affects the audio and the video quality. We have a guest speaker. He is already there on the screen. Now, just within few seconds, we shall be starting our webinar. Good evening, friends. A very warm welcome once again to the continuous series of webinar organized by Jharkhand Legal Literacy Forum. Friends, we continue with our endeavor to promote the legal literacy through these kinds of webinar. Friends, reservation in public employment has been a hotly debated issue legally and politically ever since the constitution came into force. Reservation in promotion of late has been a sphere of intense disagreement between the parliament and the honorable the Supreme Court of India. Today we have Shri Manoj Tandon, advocate and the former Additional Advocate General of Jharkhand, who has been pleased to address us on this very hotly debated topic. Now I request Advocate Piyushita Meha Tudu to kindly welcome Shri Manoj Tandon ji, Advocate Jharkhand High Court and the former Additional Advocate General of Jharkhand. Over to you, Piyushita.
Dear revered seniors and enduring co-hosts, good evening to all. It's sheer pleasure for me to welcome you all to the 7th edition of webinar conducted under Jharkhand Legal Literacy Forum, marshaled by Mr. Rahul Saboo. I am very grateful to Mr. Manoj Tandon, our speaker for today, for taking time out from his busy schedule to provide some value worth from his precious understanding about the topic of reservation in promotion in public employment, a much contentious topic of the times. Before handing over the screen to Speaker Sir, I would like for all of us to know about the gleaming career and character that he boasts of. Sir Tandon started his career in the year 1998 but was enrolled as an advocate in April 1999 in view of the extant rule, which was later struck down by the Apex Court. Sir was appointed as the Standing Counsel in the year 2009. Not many people know or be aware of that Sir holds the record of being the youngest law officer of the state of Jharkhand. He discharged his duties for the period of 2009 to 2010 and returned back to private practice. After gaining considerable experience in different fields during his private litigation, Sir was appointed as the Central Government Counsel in the year 2018, and he continued being so for about 1.5 years. He was appointed as Additional Advocate General for the state of Jharkhand in the year 2019 and continued as such for a year and returned to his private practice once again. His immense knowledge and his perseverance presented him with various opportunities to work with many organizations such as Bihar State Electricity Board and Central University Jharkhand as its impaneled lawyer. Sir has appeared in certain leading cases in Jharkhand, namely Felix Tamba versus State of Jharkhand and Anjumani Tariq versus State of Jharkhand. Sir has extensively worked in the jurisdiction side of the High Court and especially in service matters. Now, not making much ado about the welcoming, I would like to hand over the screen to Mr. Manoj Tandon. So, over to you. Thank you.
My dear Rahul Saboo, the convener of the meeting, Madam Ritu Kumar, the President, Advocate Association, Ashok Kumar Lagan, Additional Advocate General, Mr. Bhanu Kumar, always attending all the webinars. I have witnessed this. Senior members of the bar, young lawyers attending the webinar, professors, students of different colleges, ladies and gentlemen. This is a great opportunity for me that I have been invited by Rahul to speak, and the topic is my favorite one, reservation and promotion in public employment. I may tell you, my learned friends, I would address you like this. Calling myself as guest speaker, I would treat myself as a lawyer here also. It is one thing that I'm not representing a party here. I will appear for both, petitioner and respondent. But basically a lawyer, always a lawyer, maybe it is webinar or whatever. Very interesting subject for myself. And I think this is a burning topic also. It has been the burning topic, it is the burning topic, and it will remain the burning topic in the days to come. When I joined the bar, as was said by Piyushita Mehta in the year 1998, in fact 1999 when the license was granted, at that point of time also, it was a burning topic for the bar. The reason was that just after Mandal Commission, there was a, as you all are aware, the then Prime Minister of India, Mr. VP Singh, who wanted to remain the Prime Minister of India for all the time to come. Therefore, he recommended, he implemented the recommendation of that Mandal Commission that gave rise to Indira Sahni case. In fact, reservation in promotion was being given at earlier point of time also. But in Indira Sahni, it was said by the 9-judge bench, as you all are aware, that this reservation shall be restricted only to the employment and not in promotion. You will find this finding in the Indira Sahni judgment. I am repeating where it was said that no reservation can be given in the matter of promotion. It shall be restricted and only to the extent of appointment. This was said by the 9-bench judgment. There was much hue and cry politically and even non-politically. And then the 77th Amendment of Constitution was brought in the Constitution. It was brought in the year 1995. If I remember it correctly, the date is 17/6/1995. Article 16, 4 capital A was inserted in the Indian Constitution. This was for the first time that constitutionally brought that scheduled caste and scheduled tribes shall be entitled for reservation in promotion. Now, this was also challenged before the apex court and in many other high courts also. Ultimately, the Supreme Court decided this issue with respect to how this promotion and all. Birpal Singh Chauhan case, that Birpal Singh Chauhan case judgment held that okay, now the provision is there, but this is only reservation in promotion, no consequential seniority. So a person who has been promoted, he cannot claim consequential seniority over the unreserved category candidate. This was held by the apex court in Birpal Singh Chauhan case in the year 1995 itself. This citation I'll give you later on if you want. Now this again gave rise to many arguments by the one or the other political parties, political leaders. And then it was argued that there should be another constitutional amendment whereby consequential seniority should also be made valid. And then three words were added. Three words were added in the Constitution in Article 16(4)(a). These three words are with consequential seniority. And this is 85th Amendment of the Constitution of India. Though it was passed by Indian Parliament in the year 2000, this was given retrospective effect from the same date from which this 77th Amendment was in effect, that is 17/6/1995. I am repeating, these three words were added with consequential seniority, meaning thereby, if a person is promoted on the basis of reservation, he shall have consequential seniority also over and above those who are unreserved category candidate. So this 85th Amendment of the Constitution, this was also challenged before the Apex Court. Now this was the period when I had spent just 4 years at the bar, when in Jharkhand High Court also many writ petitions were filed. And I will tell you that these writ petitions were filed in the year 2003 itself, but is pending for last 17 years. This is yet to be decided. Many matters were filed from my senior's office also, as you are aware. The office of Mr. Dilip Zerath, who is now no more, but the doyen of the bar at that point of time, challenging the constitutional validity of 85th Amendment of the Constitution. Now then, 77th Amendment and 85th Amendment, both along with others, were all taken together in M. Nagaraj case by the Honorable Supreme Court, by a constitution bench, that is 5-judge bench. And then the constitution bench in M. Nagaraj case, the judgment is reported in 2006, volume 8, SCC, page 212, when the Supreme Court upheld the 87th as well as 85th Amendment of the Constitution. The Apex Court said that these two provisions are constitutionally valid. But at the same, the Supreme Court held, though the constitutional validity was upheld, but with riders. The riders were, number one, that the state is not bound to provide reservation to anyone. Kindly try to appreciate this one. Though the constitutional validity was upheld by the Apex Court, but the Apex Court said that there is no obligation on the state government or the Union of India to provide reservation in promotion. The reason was that these are just the enabling provisions. A state may grant promotion, grant reservation in promotion, or may not. And if at all there are compelling reasons for granting promotion, then again three conditions at least must be there. Number one is backwardness. Number two is that the overall administrative efficiency should not be compromised. The state must collect the quantifiable data so as to ascertain inadequacy of representation of the concerned class, that is SC/ST, so as to give promotion, reservation in promotion. So these are some of the riders which was put by the Apex Court in the case of M. Nagaraj case. After M. Nagaraj was decided, then matters pending in various high courts were also considered, because the Apex Court decided the principle, and then the Apex Court said that each and every high court shall be at liberty to decide on its own, considering the concerned factual aspects or one or the other rules, regulations brought forward by one or the other states. Was the observation in M. Nagaraj case that the state will be free to grant or not to grant, and the respective high courts will be in a position to consider those arguments and decide their respective cases which are pending in one or the other high courts. As I said earlier, in Jharkhand High Court also, there are a batch of writ petitions which are pending considering the 35th Amendment, touching to that whether reservation is permissible, whether reservation is not permissible. And those matters are yet to be considered as far as our High Court is concerned. Now, after this Yamnagra judgment came, then one or the other states came forward with the policy of reservation. In Himachal Pradesh also this was done. In other states also this was done. Just I would refer one judgment, because after respective concerned high courts decided the issue, then ultimately the matter went to the apex court. And the apex court in UP Power Corporation Limited in the year 2012 decided that matter. And then it was held that the provision which was made by the Uttar Pradesh government, that was not valid. And considering the finding and the ratio laid down by the apex court in the case of Yamnagraj, that case was decided that the compelling reasons which were necessary and in fact sine qua non, those things were not available there, and therefore no reservation can be provided. Now, this is one of such cases after the Yamnagraj judgment came. I may tell you at this stage itself that one of the points that was touched by the apex court in Yamnagraj itself was that even in the matter of reservation to SC and STs, at least in the matter of promotion, the creamy layer aspect has to be considered, which you are aware that this creamy layer concept is restricted only to the other backward class, not to the ST, SCs. But there was some reference made in that judgment that this aspect has to be looked into. So this was also much hue and cry among the political circles that these judgments should be overcome by, but till date, no such legislation has been brought forward by any of the government that the creamy layer should be ousted. After this Yamnagraj judgment and Veerpal Singh judgment, you will find that very recently, in the case of Jarnail Singh and others versus Lakshmi Narayan Gupta, judgment is reported in 2018, volume 10, SC. The validity of that judgment, and in fact, which was where Milo Justice R. Banumati was a member, she referred this matter to the Honorable Chief Justice that the Yamnagraj judgment has not been correctly decided, and therefore this requires to be referred to a larger bench. That means the 7 bench, at least 7 judges bench. But the Honorable Chief Justice constituted a bench of 5 judges only. And then the 5 judge bench judgment, which I have just referred to, again held that no, there is no reason to refer this matter to the larger bench, because the Yamnagraj judgment considered all the aspects of the matter, and then this has been delivered. The Supreme Court further, however, held that as far as collecting this quantifiable data for the SC/ST persons in respective cadres, this may not be the requirement. it was held in this case itself, that is Jarnail Singh versus Lakshmi Narayan Gupta, 2018-10 SCC 396, that now it is not required. These castes have been held to be backward, and this finding runs counter to the ratio laid down by the 5-judge bench in Yamunagaj, that quantified data has to be collected, then only reservations should be provided. So this was the modification made, but it was reiterated in this judgment itself that creamy layer aspect is required to be seen, because the argument made by the Attorney General for India was that on these two aspects, that Yamunagaj judgment is required to be revisited. One of the contentions raised by the government of India before the apex court was upheld by the Supreme Court to the extent that quantifiable data and collection thereof as far as SC/STs are concerned is not required. But creamy layer aspect has to be seen, and so the judgment still holds good. Now, as a lawyer, I may tell you, I have been pondering upon it as to how this was done. Because kindly consider the judgment of Yamunagaj's case is also a 5-judge bench judgment, and this Jarnail Singh case is also a 5-judge bench judgment. We every day argue in the High Court that if a configuration of 2 judges wants to disagree with the judgment of earlier 2-judge bench, then the matter has to be referred to the larger bench. But here, though the final word of the Supreme Court is the final one, but as a lawyer, we must consider this, that the 5-judge bench judgment was reconsidered by the 5-judge bench itself, and some of the portion of the ratio that was laid down by the apex court, that was held to be not good, and in fact it was held to be per incuria, and therefore one of the aspects collecting quantifiable data is not required. That is the final word of the Supreme Court as on date. So the creamy layer aspects remains, but that quantifiable data is not required to be seen. Now, another judgment which has come recently, though it does not relate to reservation in promotion, but it touches the point of reservation, that is Chevrulu Leela Prasad Rao versus a state of Andhra Pradesh, very recently decided. In fact, the Supreme Court was interpreting 5th schedule of the Constitution of India. While interpreting this 85th, this 5th schedule of the Constitution of India, the Supreme Court here again said that it has to be seen the whole reservation policy is required to be revisited once again. And as far as this creamy layer, etc. is concerned, these are also required to be considered. So this Chevrulu judgment is a very recent judgment. This is also a relevant to be referred to here for this topic, though it is directly not related to reservation in promotion. Now, my friends, there is another aspect which is required to be touched as far as this reservation in promotion aspect is concerned, as to whether reserved category can compete with unreserved category once having taken the benefit of reservation. I'll cite one example for this purpose. I was arguing a matter before the High Court. The facts were like this, that the person got appointed in reserved category. Thereafter, the time came for promotion to first ladder. In the reserved category in which he was appointed, he was not coming within the zone of consideration. Now, his contention is that though I was appointed in reserved category, but I am considered for the purpose of promotion to first ladder of promotion as an unreserved category candidate. Now, then the issue was as to whether a person who has been appointed in the reserve category candidate, can he be considered for further promotion to first ladder in the unreserved category. Now then, though that matter is still sub judice as far as my High Court is concerned, but this issue has been trust a little bit by the Supreme Court, and the judgment is Deepa EV versus Union of India. It is a 2017 judgment. The citation is 2017 volume 12 SCC page 680. In Deepa EV case, the Supreme Court said that once you have taken the benefit of reservation of any kind whatsoever, now you cannot compete with those who are unreserved category candidates. The fact of that case was that the candidate took the benefit of reservation and appeared in the interview as a reserved category candidate, but at the final stage, the candidate wanted to be considered as an unreserved category candidate. The Supreme Court said that no, you cannot do this. But there is yet another judgment. That judgment has also been referred to in Deepa EV case, but that was distinguished. But this is a case that is Jitendra Kumar Singh versus State of Uttar Pradesh. Jitendra Kumar Singh versus State of Uttar Pradesh. Citation is 2010 volume 3 SCC page 119. In this case, the candidate took the benefit of reservation as far as relaxation of age is concerned. Now then, when the matter went to the apex court said that grant of this type of relaxation of age does not amount to reservation at all. So the candidate can be considered and the candidate can compete with those who are unreserved category candidate. So there are two contrary judgments of the Supreme Court, if I have understood it correctly. But the fact remains that we cannot argue that Deepa EV case is a per incuriam judgment, because the Deepa EV case was decided after considering this Jitendra Kumar Singh, but it was distinguished on some factual aspects. So this issue, as far as further consideration on that post is concerned, higher post, has been considered in these two judgments also. Now the next point which is required to be considered as far as this reservation is promotion is concerned, as to whether reservation is a fundamental right or not. Now the Supreme Court has said very recently in Mukesh Kumar versus State of Uttarakhand, it is reported also 2020 volume 3 SCC page 1. This is the recent judgment. And why I am referring to is, there are two reasons for this. The first is that this judgment answers as to whether reservation is a fundamental right or not. And another aspect which is required to be highlighted before you is that in this case also the Supreme Court said that the state is free to grant reservation or not to grant reservation. This judgment arises from Uttarakhand. After considering every aspect of the matter and the relevant judgment at the relevant point of time, in the year 2012, please mark this, in the year 2012, when Congress government was in power in Uttarakhand, Uttarakhand government decided that no, there is no requirement and I'll not grant you reservation in promotion at all. Matter ultimately went to Supreme Court and it was argued that I have fundamental right for being considered in the reserved category in view of Article 16(4)(a) of the Constitution of India. The apex court said that no, not at all. A state does not have any duty to grant you reservation in promotion, even if those compelling reasons are there in the light of Constitution bench judgment, that is M. Nagaraj judgment. You cannot claim reservation as a matter of right because this is not a fundamental right. Now, as a student of law, I try to understand this judgment. Though this Article 16(4)(a) is in the fundamental part, fundamental right part, but still the Supreme Court held that right of reservation in promotion is not at all a fundamental right. And that is why I always argue that what is this Constitution all about? Whether this Constitution is all about which we read, which looks like Article 14, 16, 16(4)(a) I have just read. Is it like this? No. Constitution is what it is lastly interpreted by the Supreme Court. Even a provision is there in the fundamental right part, the Supreme Court said that no, it is not a fundamental right at all. It's a beautiful judgment for a lawyer to read and read it again and again. Because when it first came to my knowledge, the judgment is written by Justice L. Nageshwar Rao. I'm a fan of him when he was a lawyer. I have seen him arguing in Supreme Court, even in my High Court. When Justice Birender Singh was here, he appeared in a matter. And see the status that lawyer was having, now the great judge in Honorable Supreme Court. When he stood to argue the matter, Justice Birender Singh, the then Chief Justice, asked him, "What is your name, Mr. Counsel?" You see the beauty of advocacy I have seen there. He did not answer this. The other side lawyer, who was also a very senior person from Supreme Court, he just stood in the court and said, "My lord, he is Mr. L. Nageshwar Rao, the Solicitor General of India." And then he said just now, see the status of that lawyer. It is he who has written this judgment as a judge of Supreme Court. So how beautiful this judgment is written, just go through. Because when I have been reading these Article 16(4)(a) in my early age of this practice, I have not been able to understand it properly. Fundamental right part is there. Supreme Court says that no, it is no fundamental right at all. This is just an enabling provision. A state is enabled to frame appropriate legislation. A state is free to bring appropriate subordinate legislation, or maybe, as was said in Indira Sahni case by the Supreme Court, that reservation can be provided even by executive instruction. So whatever, either free, this policy, instruction, subordinate legislation, or appropriate legislation by a state legislature, the state is free to do because enabling provision is there. But you cannot compel the state to grant reservation because Article 16(4) is there. And that is why I repeat it, Constitution is not what it looks like. Constitution is what it is lastly interpreted by the Supreme Court. That is the last word. We always argue who is superior, this Supreme Court, Parliament, because Supreme Court says A, then Parliament says B. No, your judgment is yours, and the Parliament has every right to do so. The basis of that aspect, on the basis of which this judgment was delivered, if that is removed, Parliament has every power to do. But still I hold, I may be incorrect, but my understanding is that Supreme Court has the last word to interpret, and whatever it says, that is the final one. First judgment, therefore, which I have referred to, that Birpal Singh Chauhan case, it is for us to read it again and again, because before that, we were not able to understand as to what is this reservation in promotion and then what is this consequential seniority at all. This is basically known as, my senior friend Mr. Rajendra Krishna is there. There is a principle in this all aspect that is called catch-up rule. Catch-up rule. It can be understood by one example. that I belong to reserved category and you belong to unreserved category. We both were appointed in a particular year. Say for the year 1999, we both were appointed. Since I belong to reserved category and you belong to unreserved category, appointed in the same year, but in the seniority position, you were senior to me. You are reserved category, unreserved category, and you were senior to me. Now the time for promotion came, and rightly, in view of the provisions Article 16(4)(a), the reserved category candidate was promoted to the first ladder of promotion. Now then what happens? In turn, the unreserved category candidate also get a chance, and he is also promoted to the first ladder of promotion. Now the position is that both are on the first ladder of promotion. Now here the issue will arise as to who is senior here. We both are in the same cadre, particularly in view of the fact that reserved category candidate has got promotion at earlier point of time. Now he argues that I got promotion earlier, so I am senior. The unreserved category candidate says that no, not at all. I was senior to you in the feeder cadre, and therefore I will regain my seniority, and I am now senior for the purpose of promotion to second ladder of promotion. This issue was taken to the Supreme Court in 1995 itself when Birpal Singh Chauhan case came, and Supreme Court said in that case that no. This unreserved category candidate, though promoted later on, but he was senior in the first ladder, at the time of appointment, so he will regain his seniority. And then to overcome that judgment, Birpal Singh Chauhan case, this 85th Amendment of Constitution of India came into effect, which was under challenge in M. Nagaraj case. Now there is a much heart burning in the whole country on this judgment when the Supreme Court has said that reservation is not a fundamental right. Now let us see in the days to come as to whether the Parliament shall overcome this judgment also in one way or the other or not. As a lawyer, as a student, we all will understand in future. But as far as I am concerned, I may tell you, my friend, I have been a student of law. Everyone is a student of law as far as lawyers are concerned. But I have burnt my midnight oil in this particular aspect right from the day I joined the practice. After just 2-3 years, when I was appearing with my senior, and later on after 5-6 years, I appeared in 2003 itself, independently also. I may tell you, when this 85th Amendment was challenged, there was all legal luminaries coming from outside to argue these matters in our High Court. And everyone tried that the interest of unreserved category candidate is required to be protected even in view of this 85th Amendment. But the division refused that no, once the constitutional amendment is there, no interference. But in the light of some interim order passed by the Apex Court in M. Nagaraj case itself, the interests of general category candidates were also protected, but the interest of reserved category candidates were also protected. A status quo like order was there, and that was followed by all the high courts. So when the unreserved category candidate were filing the cases and the High Court was flooded with those type of cases, and all the lawyers who were appearing of those years were not able to get any judgment in favor of the unreserved category candidate, I was also consulted by some of the engineers, and I also advised that since the High Court has not interfered, what is that and how can you get a relief? But they were so conscious. They said, I will tell you just my practice. Touching to the point itself, I am not traveling beyond this. What I did is, I filed a writ petition before a single judge, not challenging 85th Amendment. The point that I took is, And you remember all the lawyers, in fact, I'm addressing. In those days, the sanitary lists were prepared by the state of Bihar. It was in between the pipeline, Jharkhand, Bihar, all disputes. Yeah. It was boom for the lawyers at that point of time as far as this aspect is concerned. Many cases. The point that I argued before a learned single judge, and that honorable judge rose to the height of the Supreme Court judge also later on. I took the point that, my lords, how this sanitary list can be prepared by the state of Bihar for the employees who are working in the state of Jharkhand. When this point was raised, the honorable court said that this is not permissible. In view of the various provisions in the Bihar Reorganization Act, maybe whatever reason, 85th Amendment, no amendment, Article 16.4 or whatever, but how this state of Bihar can frame the sanitary list for the purpose of deciding the sanity of those who are posted in this part of the country, that is Jharkhand, successor state. In fact, at that point of time, the status quo was granted. In the connected matter, one of the lawyers came from Patna, and he is a legal luminary and maximum serving advocate general of Bihar. He tried to get a relief in favor of the reserved category candidate, but the honorable court refused to grant any such relief. And after some time, much water has flown now. So these are the matters which are required to be considered in the matter of reservation and promotion in public employment. Finally, the net conclusion is that whether fundamental right or not, that aspect, let us see what, but the final word is of the Supreme Court. And very recently, after that judgment, that Mukesh Kumar, which I have just referred to by Justice L. Nageswar Rao, there is one most recent judgment, very recently.
Friends, kindly bear for a few moments. I think there is some link problem in the, there is some internet problem appearing in the, on the side of Mr. Sri Manoj Tandon.
क्या प्रॉब्लम आ गया?
हाँ मनोज भैया,
हाँ क्या प्रॉब्लम आ गया? लिंक। हेलो राहुल जी,
उसका कोई इम्पोर्टेंट आया है?
I have just informed Sri Manoj Tandon ji that he would be joining us immediately. There is some internet, there is some technical glitches on his side. They are rectifying it. Kindly bear us for a few minutes.
उसका जरूर कोई इम्पोर्टेंट क्लाइंट आया है।
सही बात है।
Sorry for inconvenience. Sorry for inconvenience. There was some interruption. Am I audible to you all? Rahul?
Yes, sir. You are very much audible
Yes.
to us.
Some
Kindly,
technical-
yes, sir. We understand that there is a technical glitch, sir. Kindly proceed, sir.
Is it okay now? Is it
Yes,
okay?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please,
Yes,
sir. Yes, sir.
Rahul, sorry for interruption, right?
No, it's
Now,
okay.
so I was just concluding that in one case which is from Uttarakhand, the apex court held that Uttarakhand government has rightly decided not to grant you promotion, a reservation in promotion. In the case of Karnataka, that government granted reservation in promotion. That matter was also ultimately taken to the Supreme Court, and very recently it has been decided, it is not a reported judgment by Justice Nariman perhaps. It was held now that a state was free to provide reservation in promotion and that government has rightly provided. So the net result finally is that it is for a state to consider whether reservation is required or not. And even if it is required, the state is free. Maybe these compelling reasons are there, that is backwardness, even quantifiable data, overall administrative efficiency, inadequacy of representation of that particular class. Even all these compelling reasons are there. Then in that case also, it is for the state to decide whether to grant reservation in promotion or not to grant. In both the cases, from Karnataka as also from Uttarakhand, though contrary view were taken by the respective state government, the Supreme Court said that no state has rightly granted reservation, and in one case, a state has rightly not granted reservation. So the final and net result is that it is for the concerned state to consider what to do. The court is hardly required to interfere in such matter when the provision of reservation in promotion has been granted. So this is my final conclusion, and while ending this within the time limit as was prescribed by Mr. Rahul, I should not cross the time limit and all he always says. I tell you, my friends, that the net result is the fundamental, this reservation is not a fundamental right. And in the matter of reservation in promotion, it is for one or the other state to decide. Court is hardly going to interfere in any such matter. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rahul. Thank you, Madam Ritu Kumar, for giving me patient hearing, President of my association. One and all, everyone, Mr. Bhanu Kumar,
Thank you, sir.
Madam Neetu
Thank you,
Sinha,
sir. Thank you,
Vishnu
sir.
Murari,
बहुत बढ़िया.
Rajesh, Shiv Shankar, my junior, everyone, thank you for coming and sparing time in this COVID-19 era. In the evening hours, I have disturbed you all for at least 1 hour. Thank you so much for joining and giving me patient hearing. Pranam.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir,
Pranam,
for
sir.
this
Thank you, sir.
enlightening session of this most hotly debated topic, reservation in promotion in public employment. Sir, in this session of webinar, you have very lucidly and meticulously explained this topic on reservation in promotion in public employment with the help of various rules, doctrines of law developed during the yesteryears, catena of judgments of the Honorable Apex Court. Sir, the lecture delivered by you will be remembered for the times to come by this bar. Last but not the least, today after your lecture on this topic of reservation in promotion, we are very much enlightened, sir. Now, I request the members of the bar and the participants present here that if they have any query with respect to this topic, they may kindly put before our guest speaker. Over to you, participants.
I am ready to answer any query relating to this topic.
I only want to say a few words.
Sir.
Rahul.
Sir, please. Yes, sir.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I am not going to make any query or question, but I am highly obliged that there is a phrase, Dagar mein sagar, Dagar mein sagar. So without payment of any fee, without any conference, we have a lot of experience. Everything has been given in a crystal clear manner. Landmark are also there. I only want to say one thing, that when Indira Sawhney case was decided, I was incidentally at the portal of Supreme Court before the press reporters. So this is very important topic, and we are highly obliged to Mr. Manoj Tandonji.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Young members of the bar are here. If they have any doubt, I'll try to clear.
If anyone is having any doubt,
Hello, sir. One question that is in my mind. What are the benefits granted during notional promotion extended to an employee?
Though it is beyond the topic, but I'll answer you. What are the benefits of notional promotion?
Promotion if extended retrospectively.
You see, the benefits of notional promotion is only this much, that you are not going to get the monetary benefit for the interregnum period, but net result is, I'm giving you one example. A person retires in the year 2020. He is granted notional promotion from 5 years earlier, say from 2015, and he retires today. Then his pension and all other benefits shall be calculated on the basis of promotional pay scales. But he will not get the monetary benefit for these 5 years. That is the benefit of notional promotion. Am I clear to you?
Right.
But this was not within the topic. This was beyond the topic, Mr. Burman. But anyway, I'm ready to answer anything if you want. Let us be friendly in this webinar instead of formality. You are free to ask anything. If I have some knowledge, I'll just answer.
Sir, I have a question, sir. Sir, as said by you that the Supreme Court left on the states to give reservation to any class or caste of people. So, but if we take the example of state, in every state the state government try to attract the voters, and in that process they definitely provide reservation in the promotion as it is a mechanism to attract the voters towards them. So will not that be against the constitutional morality if we are giving promotion just on the basis of attracting the voters, not on the basis of their class or caste?
This is a political question you have put to me, but as a lawyer, we must try to understand and answer this. In fact, this has been, as I said, whether I was correct or not, this Mandal Commission recommendation was implemented by a prime minister. He wanted to remain the prime minister for all the time to come. And that is why to the voters he did. Is it correct that he continued for all the time to come as prime minister of India? Not at all. Though he wanted to do this, that he will implement this recommendation and therefore he can remain the prime minister of India for all this. But this never happened. This is one thing to say that this is just a vote bank politics. It is rightly said to some extent, but I may tell you this benefits none. It is not like this that only because you do something to woo the voters, and therefore you can continue and your party is coming in power only because of this. You see today which party is in power and today which party is in opposition. But what happened, I have referred to you, in the year 2012, Congress party was in power in Uttarakhand, and that party decided that no, reservation should not be granted in promotion, which was upheld by the apex court. So all this, I may tell you, see the debate even in American presidential election this time. This vice president candidate, what she said earlier and what is she saying now, just to woo the voters. But this hardly benefits anyone. This is my personal experience as a lawyer. Let us see what happens. But this happens practically. Mr. Pawan Pratap Singh, you are right in saying to some extent they want to woo the voter for this purpose. But this is a hard reality, and this is bound to happen in a country like us.
Sir, so now we should conclude that there is no limitation upon any state to exercise this power. There is a complete free hand. There is no elastic to test this exercise of power. If at all this is the situation, I'm just debating, I'm subscribing the question that was put by Pawan. If at all this is the conflicting situation, that it will be depending upon the state willingness to provide or not to provide. In either way, it has been upheld by the Supreme Court. Is it still possible to challenge that by the persons who are affected, or is it any yardstick, any latitude is such a wide latitude where we cannot even challenge on any canon of law? I am just hounding on this issue now.
Murari, may I just answer? May I just try to answer this? You are correct in saying so, because very recent, this 2 years development, I may tell you, in the year 2018, the Appeals Court said that rightly that government has decided not to grant any reservation in promotion. And the latest one is from that Karnataka, where the Appeals Court said it has rightly been. So the state has the free hand, because you see, the provision itself, you must have the Constitution of India. When I started this, I thought it proper to keep it with me also. The very opening line, it starts like what? Nothing in this article shall prevent the state from making any provision for reservation. So this is just starts with, I think, non-obstante clause, as we know in legal parlance. So it just gives a free hand to state to make reservation for promotion. So the Supreme Court rightly said, the language of this article is such. Mr. Murari, please Murari, let me complete my answer. The language is such, it goes with a language where the Supreme Court has no option but to say so. Because it is an enabling provision, the state may provide reservation in provision, a state may not. So the Supreme Court is right in saying it is free hand, yes.
Now on the aspect of power, there is no question now. Now we are only just trying to understand whether on the issue of justification to exercise that power, whether there is any kind of latitudinal boundaries can be carved out or not. That is the whole issue now.
Boundary is there in Yamuna judgment. If any decision of any state government is contrary to any of the ratio laid down by the Apex Court in Yamuna, you are free to challenge and it will be caused in a minute.
That is the answer now.
So that is there. That is there.
That is still. But in
so I just wanted to put one question.
Anyone else? Sorry.
May I ask one question?
Yes, Subhashis, please ask.
Subhashis, sorry. Yes.
Sure.
Yes, Subhashis.
So before putting a question, rather, I just wanted to show one of the picture, and therefore I will ask the question. Sir, kindly see this picture, and then I'll put a question. It will take only 1 minute. So if I put a question on this, sir, have you seen this picture now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So my question will be, rather before asking a question, एक थोड़ा भूमिका बांधते हुए क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहूंगा इस पे कि जैसे सर ने कहा कि
but don't complicate.
No. I will not. My question is
simplify.
I'm just simplifying. Since it is an enabling provision, so we advocates fraternity is called as a thought-provoking fraternity for the entire community, rather for the entire society, human society, I can say, in context of India. So when we see this picture and we talk about it is an enabling provision where the state is having a power to do it, else it cannot be done without invoking that enabling provision. So if the state is not doing so, this matter cannot come under the purview of PIL also. So if we say in that sense, the enabling provision, the state is not invoking its own power, but then how we are going to secure a fundamental right, if at all it is a requirement of that particular community that this enabling provision should be utilized, whether in the sense can be invoked under Article 32 or 226 to invoke interpreting in such a fashion that it is a fundamental right at a given point.
May I answer?
Yes, sir.
I'm answering this. Please try to hear patiently. The picture that you have shown, the question that you have put, it may be answered in a question. There is an IS officer. He belongs to scheduled caste or scheduled tribe category. His son was brought up in Delhi, elite family. On the contrary, there is a person who belongs to unreserved category, and his father is a rickshaw puller in the town of Ranchi. Now you want to give to whom? The person who is rickshaw puller here, or the person who is the IS officer there in Supreme Court? What is the meaning of this equality? This is a debatable issue, Subhasis, and it can be argued for any hours together. Who is entitled for this? And that is why now the Supreme Court has said that even in the matter of reservation and promotion to the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, this creamy layer has to be excluded. Please try to appreciate this. And I would request, though my request is nothing, as a lawyer, I am just saying that benefits should go to the weaker section of the society, not to those elite persons who are already occupying these high chairs and they are getting the benefit of reservation only because of that reason. So the answer lies in the question which I have put to you. If the state is not doing to benefit the weaker section of the society, you are free to come to the High Court. But only because of these reasons, this I don't understand.
So that means the real fruit is not being given to the actual person who actually deserves it.
Yes, and actual person are who are the weaker section of the society.
And the person who should deserve it, they cannot approach to the Honorable High Court because of the tedious task we are facing with.
This happens. Yeah. All maximum cases you will find. These all creamy layer persons are coming to the High Court and getting relief or not getting relief. These poor sections of the society, they are vulnerable. They are not able to come. They are not raising this voice. Now we always argue class within the class. There is a class within the class. Among the SC, ST persons, you will find there are persons, they are not getting the two ends, but they are not getting the benefit of reservation. What is the meaning of reservation? They don't get this. The benefit of reservation are getting those persons who are IS, IPS officers in the whole country, or the netas.
Sir, but then one another set
this benefit is not going to the actual weaker section of the society. This is my view as a lawyer, the personal view. Let us see in the days to come what happens.
May I ask one question, sir?
Over another question from another person, not all questions from one person.
I'm not putting a question, but just to conclude in this. Since India is having an adversarial judicial system, where a party who is in seek of justice, they have to approach the court. This is called adversarial judicial system we are having in India since ages. So unless and until a person comes before the court and seek for justice and therefore pay the court fee, न्यायिक शुल्क, तब जाके न्याय मिलती है. तो ये
no, you must be aware of this. If you file a writ petition in High Court, if you belong to scheduled tribe category, you are not required to pay the fee.
So that
you are aware of this. Perhaps you are aware of this.
That
you
is
are not required to pay the fee.
Adversarial judicial system, because of such we are
if
facing
you belong to scheduled caste or scheduled tribe, you become a writ petitioner in High Court under Article 226. You are not required to pay the court fee at all.
Thank you.
Over to Mohan Dubey. Yes.
Sir, as stated, कि on judgment, Honorable Justice Bhanumati refer earlier judgment he have now 5 bench judge in constitutional bench, and again matter was referred. Then again 5 judge bench they was modify order. How can possible there is some principle in the Supreme Court ki the coordinate bench judge cannot overlook the matter of earlier decision, or that things how can they modify it as per my understanding?
Now, if your question is over, then I'll start answering.
Yes.
This is what I said in course of my lecture. In fact, the query which is haunting your mind, I also face the same situation. But the fact remains that it is the 5 judge bench which said so. The earlier judgment of M. Nagaraj was revisited, in fact, though it was held in that judgment that this is not required to revisit. But the point is, you just read both the judgments. This Jarnail Singh judgment is a 5-judge judgment. And this judgment said, headed by Justice Deepak Misra, this judgment said that as far as one, because 2 arguments were there by the Attorney General for India. One was that in the matter of SC, STs, they are already backward class, they are declared backward class by the Indira Sahni judgment 9 bench. So this judgment of Yamunagara runs counter to the ratio laid down by the Indira Sahni judgment as far as this collecting quantifiable data, etc. are concerned. Another point he raised is the creamy layer, because as was pointed out by another Pavan Pratap Singh lawyer, he said this is just to the voters, vote buying politics, etc. Another point was argued by Attorney General for India for the Supreme Court was that this creamy layer, as far as scheduled caste and scheduled tribe is concerned, this creamy layer aspect should not be there. So on both the counts, this judgment required to be revisited. The 5-judge bench has said that no, it is not required to be referred to larger bench, that is of 7, the configuration of 7 men. But this judgment holds that as far as this aspect, quantifiable data, etc., collecting for SC, STs are concerned, this runs counter and hence per incurium, and it is contrary to the law laid down by Indira Sahni, and therefore that judgment was modified. This instruction, you just read the judgment, that is the law of the land. And if you are asking this, how the Supreme Court said, we cannot say this. That is the final word under Article 141 of the Constitution of India. And we as a lawyer, as a student, used to say in corridors that Supreme Court has power to pass even wrong order, because there is no other Supreme Court. Supreme Court's order is final one, unless and until it is revisited by a larger bench. It is the final one, my friend Mr. Mohan Dubey. That judgment is there under Article 141. It is bound. We are bound by that.
Thank you, sir.
It is correct or not, that is to be seen by the Supreme Court in later years.
Itself. Thank you, sir, for enlightening.
Any other query?
Yes, Pandey Neeraj Rai.
Sir.
Can I, sir, please? Thank you.
Sir, please, sir.
Sir, I've got 2 questions with your kind permission. One is, what if somebody argues before a high court, or somebody would have argued before a high court, that under Article 141 we are bound by the Supreme Court's judgment. Supreme Court 9-judge bench says something, and therefore Supreme Court's 5-judge bench being per incurium should not be followed. How do you perceive this situation? What a judge in the High Court is supposed to do in such a situation? That's one.
May I answer this?
Please.
You see the factual aspect. The Supreme Court said in Indira Sahni, there is 9-bench judgment, as was referred to in this Jarnail Singh, that the Supreme Court in Indira Sahni case has already held SC, STs backward class, and therefore directing to collect quantifiable data as regards this SC and STs, this aspect is contrary to the law laid down by Indira Sahni. This is what Jarnail Singh says. And therefore, this Jarnail Singh held that no need to collect quantifiable data. So the judgment of Yamuna Agraj stands modified to this extent. But this was done by a 5-judge bench. Earlier one is also a 5-judge bench. It is for the lawyer to research on this. The earlier is also a 5-judge. Later on, we all argue in the High Court, same configuration. You have no power. At best, you can refer the matter to the larger bench. How can you? But the Supreme Court did this.
No, but therefore I am going a step ahead. I am saying, what if somebody, let's forget about Jarnail Singh. It has not come. Let us assume Jarnail Singh has not come with that clarification. 5-judge or 7-judge or whatever. Jarnail Singh has not come, and a lawyer arguing before the High Court is faced with one 9-judge and a contrary later judgment of 5 judges. And he argues that, please view 9-judge. 9-judge says that adequacy of the extent of backwardness need not be gone into, because while including some particular class in the presidential notification, that has been taken into account. But we have here another 5-judge later judgment which says that that also has to be surveyed. Please
normally
ignore this. The subsequent
normally, Mr. Pandey, normally, Mr. Pandey, no High Court will dare to do so.
That's what.
Not at all. No, High Court will say that this constitution bench is contrary to the earlier bench, and therefore I'll follow that one, not this one. The latest one is always followed. This is what I say. In the practice, this happens. Law, what is law? You know, we know. But no, High Court could have done. And in fact, this was argued. In fact, this was argued many times. But this argument was never found to be good.
The second question may I put? Thank you for this answer, Manoj. It has been very clear and lucid. The second question is that there is a principle of law we identify. Whenever there is existence of legal power upon any public authority, Article 12 authority, there is an implied duty coupled with existence of this power silently there to exercise that power whenever situation warrants, whenever facts justify exercise of that power. Now here we have a legal power, as I read it under 4A, that state can or cannot in a given case decide to grant this reservation promotion. So if we take this as a legal power and somebody argues that the facts justify that in this state government should go for reservation, can they not claim it as a duty, as an implied duty on part of the state?
No, this has been answered in Jarnail Singh. This has been answered. There is no legal duty. It is just an enabling power. No duty is cast upon the state.
But this is
no duty. It has a specifically been answered. No duty is cast.
But this has not been argued. Existence of power has an implied duty.
No, the Pro-Reservation Council argued there. The Pro-Reservation Council argued there. They said that once there is Article 16(4)(a) provision is there, constitutional provision, therefore this casts and duty upon the state. But the Supreme Court said that no. Mukesh Kumar judgment is that judgment. Mukesh Kumar versus क्या हम आपको बताए थे? That is by Justice L. Nageswar Rao. This issue has been answered by Supreme Court in Mukesh Kumar case, that there is no legal duty upon the state to provide reservation. This was argued.
Right, they have very specifically and clearly said so.
Yes.
But nobody argued that principle of law, that existence of power has an implied duty coupled with it, to exercise it whenever power is there.
I think I'll reread it and you also try. Yes. But I think this has been answered. This was argued and this has been answered. That there is no legal duty.
For example,
duty is not coupled with that power. So there is no duty.
For example, in one case in connection with 133 CRPC, when there was public nuisance, somebody argued that authority is not taking a step on its own. And then Supreme Court said that whenever that public power is there, it has got a implied duty to exercise it whenever facts warrant. So one can say.
Okay, but we should not travel beyond the topic today. We should not travel beyond the topic.
I'm applying that.
Any question from anyone?
Thank you so much, everyone. Sir, I think we are running. We have exceeded the time which we have already decided earlier in the Legal Literacy Forum that we shall be holding the webinar for almost 1 hour. Now, thank you so much, sir, and thank you so much, participants, for having such an interactive, for participating in this interactive session. Now, I would request Subhashish Sorenji to kindly convey the vote of thanks to our guest speaker as well as the members of the bar. Over to you, Subhashish ji.
Thank you, Rahul sir. Indeed, it's a good evening. Guest speaker Shri Manoj Tandon, Srimati Ritu Kumar, President, Advocates Association, Jharkhand High Court, and our most valued viewers, senior advocates and advocates of the bar, and invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. I, Subhashit Asik Soren, on behalf of Jharkhand Legal Literacy Forum, and let me have the liberty to call it as a mind changer amid lockdown and igniting interest back again towards the profession. And on my personal behalf, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to all. A very big thank you, sir, our guest speaker, Shri Manoj Tandon, for his efforts towards the topic reservation in promotion in public employment. We are all inspired by your great words, sir. And you rightly said, you have burnt your oil of lamp since your initial days of practice. And because of that burning, your words had ignited us and developed the interest to jot down important case laws on this given topic, and also ignited to keep ourselves updated. Finally, I would like to take this opportunity to place on record our hearty thanks to Shri Rahul Sabhuji, convener, because of his effort along with his other esteemed members of the bar. This platform is formed for the exchange of knowledge. Ladies and gentlemen, and an event like this cannot happen overnight. The wheels start rolling weeks ago. That is so apparent today. It requires planning and a hawk's eye view, I can say. I cannot thank everyone enough for their involvement and their willingness to take part today for this successful webinar beyond their comfort zones. In this situation, we have faced these technical glitches today. We thank you for being with us this evening. It's a very great pleasure. Thank you very much. Sayonara.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.